we want to welcome you guys back to the second conversation party with the Sisterhood Extravaganza and
Real Women Revealed.
Yay! So tonight we have some amazing topics, got some great conversation for you tonight. A lot of the conversation is going to be centered around like relationships, life. It's going to be powerful, it's going to be impactful, so if you weren't here for the first one, and you definitely don't want to miss this one.
Yeah, you want to stay tuned, take notes if need be, stop, rewind this tape and go back. But yeah, the first event of the conversation that we had was very informational in a sense, in a lot of aspects to dating, relationships, and things like that. So we got a lot of great feedback on that. So we're looking forward to tonight, to some great questions that I think you guys will really, really enjoy. So stay tuned for the Real Women Reveal and
the Sisterhood Extravaganza conversation party.
All right.
Woohoo!
Thank you all for coming out tonight. So if this is your first time here, big shouts out to the Indiana crew that's in the house. Yay! Just want to set some ground rules. So if you weren't here last time, Audrey, yeah. I'll be Vanna. If you can share what the rules are regarding the conversation.
I have some new ones too, because my husband told me with the bands may be a little feminine for the women, so I found something for men, a remote control. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
So if someone has the fan or the remote, we're asking that you give them the courtesy, because here's what happens, right? We get all excited and we're like, yeah, yeah, and we want to start talking, but as we're filming, the conversation can get a little bit convoluted and we can't hear you, and it's all this over talk. So we're going to ask that if someone is talking, please give them the courtesy of finishing, and then you can raise your hand and we'll quickly run this over to you, or the person will pass it to you. So is that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
I just wanted to let you guys know that there are some Real Women Revealed shirts back there and some bandanas, and she's modeling, and the proceeds goes to House of Miracles. It's a sober living facility for men and women in the early stages of recovery. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. It's in Glendale. If you ever would like to tour the facility, we would love for you to come over and do that. You can look us up on Facebook, House of Miracles. I just promote Real Women Reveal. We do a lot of empowerment for the women and things like that in recovery. But those are what the proceeds of the shirts and the bandanas and the whole Real Women Reveal attire. It goes to House of Miracles. I just wanted to let you guys know that.
No, that was great. No, as a matter of fact, because there were people who weren't here last time, so they don't really know who we are and what we do, right? So that was very good. So my name is Pat Gillum. I am the founder of Sisterhood Extravaganza. It is a women's empowerment network, and the reason I started the Sisterhood Extravaganza was because I really wanted to give women an opportunity to learn how to build those really good, positive relationships with each other. I'm talking about the kind of relationships that go deeper than just that surface stuff that we deal with. I wanted us to really love on each other, really celebrate each other, and support each other. So that's what my organization does, and I have connected with Audrey on many occasions because she has that same, I think, idea for her organization also, which is?
Yeah, Real Women Revealed, promoting self-esteem and self-worth and sisterhood for women. So it's just obvious that we should connect, right? But in that, we just want to, and I mentioned earlier real quick about House of Miracles building self-esteem for women in recovery. But not all women in recovery need to build their self-esteem. We all know that. So, but that's just an aspect for that. So we just want to team up to show what sisterhood looks like. Reality TV doesn't give that to us. So don't that's not the sisterhood that we're talking about. So, but you can find out about us more on Facebook or on our website. So we ready to get started.
Have the roles changed in dating, and if so, how?
I think the women's role as far as lowering their standards, because there's a lot of women out there with low self-esteem and no self-esteem, and by nature women are more educated than men, you know, and I've seen it in my profession as far as an immigration officer out there in Los Angeles, and as far as college and different things like that. And when you ask women will they date down, most of them at a professional level will say they don't. But there's a lot of lonely witches And I understand we are in Phoenix, Arizona, so I understand these honeys flying on their brooms around here. But as far as the roles being changed, it's mother's way as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think that a lot of women have what they call self-esteem.
So what is, when you say there's a lot of lonely women out there, why do you think they're lonely? Your perception, because we all know perception is not reality, but what's your perception?
Personal relationships they've been through. Can you love after love? You know, being married once, twice, 2, 3, 4 mistakes, I don't know. But one thing I can say is that I see from low self-esteem or no self-esteem that women seem to date down, or I just can't understand how you're not equally yoked with somebody. And then, go ahead.
Let me ask, when you say date down, just for all of us and for clarification, what does that really mean for you when you say date down? Because the reason I ask about that is because sometimes people think dating down means lowering the standard from a financial perspective. So I just want to make sure you clarify maybe what your perspective on what dating down really means for you, right?
Right.
Particularly women in any workforce, blue collar or anything else, you know, that feel they've been hurt to the point where they resort to something which is not evangelical, or turn to the cat lickers club. And as far as I'm concerned, I can't understand that. You know, that just, it's not natural. But give me another question, because I need to.
No.
The more things change, the more they say the same. I think as we get older, we know what we want, both men and women. So I don't think it's changed. I just think the older you get, the more mature you get. So you'll want to do the things that you didn't do when you were younger. So I don't think it's changed in that aspect. I think women have it rough because statistically speaking, there's more women out there than there are men. So therefore, there are more, there are more options for men to have. With, interracial dating, more and more and more. So there's more options for men to have. So we, the younger you are, well, I got a whole bunch of choices. So you can basically be be what you want to be and who you want to be. So women do have it rough. I'm just putting it out there because you have a lot that you've been through, especially women who had previous relationships, previous marriages, children, and everything. So a man basically is like, I can pick whoever I want. I can pick whoever I want. Whether it's the right one or not is a different story. So men are more bold, men are more out there, so they basically have a choice. They basically have more choices, more options.
So do you feel that because men have more choices, it limits the possibilities then for women, and that's why they're settling or maybe lowering their standards?
Or dating down, as
the gentleman said?
Yes, I do. I think women basically are trying to find a good man. Now, a good man is hard to find. Now, well, a good man is hard to find. True. I can honestly say that. A good man is hard to find. In perspective, I'm not speaking on perspective that way. I'm saying because women think that basically what their standards are.
Defining what a good man is.
Yeah, defining what a good man is. They always say that. They always say a good man is hard to find. Well, you have a lot of different options, especially women. You have different, I don't know if you have that many options because, a lot of men are mostly incarcerated, homosexual, and
there's a lot of
generally, don't have, so you don't have that many options in a good man because statistically speaking, there are more women out there than there are more men.
Just to kind of piggyback on what he was saying a little bit, as far as the men having more options, which they do. But with that being said, because they do have more options, and then they can pick and choose who they want to be with, therefore, a lot of times, they don't have to be responsible to be chivalrous, because there are some women who will take anything or accept anything because they're at that point of, I just want to have a man. So they'll take that man that's just going to, that will be lazy, doesn't want to work. They'll sit back and take care of this individual because they don't have to step up to be a man, because there's many women out there that'll just take a man just because they want to have one. Then with their options expanding, if they are into interracial dating, that makes, as a black woman, I feel like I can speak on, as a black woman, that kind of does take away from our options in a sense, because they may not be looking for a sister anymore. They may have had bad experiences with a lot of us, and they treat the next one like the last one. So that's, that's one of the things. But and then as far as dating down, it kind of ties in with that too. To say it's not so much as what their financial ability is. Again, it goes back to, are they responsible? Do they want to work? Do they, just different things in that aspect. Are they taking care of their children? So, and that's not, and I'm not saying just as a black man, I'm saying men, period. Because there are many
I was going to say, because the divorce rate in the black, white, Hispanic, whatever, it's just not that.
It's not about race, it's about a man, period. Because there are many races of men that have that same scope, the way they are, characteristics. So,
okay.
It's changed drastically because women have had to step into leadership roles. Women has been head of their household. So many times men come into a relationship and they're slacking a little bit. And women are making more money in the industry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
The lack of their own security, they have insecurity, low self-esteem, and they do have a plethora of options. So they come to the relationship with an expectation almost that they're entitled, and they're not entitled. So that's one thing. And to speak on what the gentleman said over here about there being few good men, it's really, what it really is the woman. If the woman is confident, if the woman is secure in herself, if the woman knows what she wants, she's going to reflect what she wants, and that's going to be drawn to her.
Absolutely. I'm Ida, and in listening, I'm a single woman. I've been married. Now I'm single again. And it's not that you're lonely, because you've been married and been lonely in the marriage.
A woman's role is a woman's role, a man's role is a man's role. And when she said that women have to be the head of the household, true enough, that's correct. But the man is supposed to be the strength and the backbone behind the family. And if he's not given that opportunity, then he's falling short of his expectations.
Women still go back to their rightful position as having a man be the head of the household. A lot of things will be different in the world.
Somewhere along the line, they've lost most of that, and that's a shame, because they have so much to give. And as far as the interracial is concerned, if you're still sitting on your hands thinking about a black man, you are lost from the beginning here. Get on with it. Who cares what race he is? If he's a good man, he's a good man.
So I can't really speak on the whole being single, right? But this is what I want to say, being married to the single women. So this is what I observed. I observed, just as I've heard, that you have women, we're much stronger. Our makeup is much stronger now because we have to be. So, we have, we're holding down the fort all by ourselves. So when a man comes, it's kind of like, we don't want to subdue the independence. So it's like when he comes on board, you don't want to subdue and let him take his place. You want to keep, quote unquote, being the man of the house. Well, you can't. So what I've learned, and I have a lot of single girlfriends, and they're all in their 40s saying, girl, I can't find a man, my tolerance is low, and all that stuff. But here's the thing, step back. That's the note I got for you. Step back, because he is still the man. And when you have a weaker man, or a man who might not be what you want him to be, don't bash him. Don't beat him upside the head. Don't criticize him. Help him. So, you know, whatever area he's weak in, okay, you might be strong in. It's a team. But you cannot break him down, because what happens is you break him down, he shuts down. And now you got a never-ending problem. So what I want to leave is, you know, teamwork. They say it makes the dream work, and I can say it definitely does in my house. And you have to step back and let him lead. And if he's not leading, you find out what he's weak at, and you kind of come together and build it to make him what he is.
Yes. We have strengths and weaknesses. We're always going to have it. It's never going to be we're 100% on the same thing together. It's always going to be maybe you're stronger in this, whether it's finances or whether it's the home or whatever it is. So it's never going to be 100%. So that's a good point. So there are a lot of women that are leading organizations, CFOs, CEOs, or whatever, managers. So in here, the women, and we want to hear men chime in on this too. Where are the women that will lead an organization? Do you have issues leading men? Are there issues that come into play because you are a female manager or a female CEO, and there may be an issue because you are leading men? Anybody want to take that one on?
Do you think as women, when we're in the workplace, that we have to turn on a different persona than men? And if so, why is that? Because when Audra talks about women leading, right, in the workplace, and is it difficult to work for us when we're trying to take on a man's persona and we're not being who we truly are? So anybody struggling with that? Works for somebody that's a female?
I think right here.
My name's Luana. I'm in the entertainment industry, so that hits really deep in the industry that I'm in, because you have to play two hats. As a woman having a talk show, dealing with a lot of men in the music industry, you have to kind of put yourself like with all these guys. Some of these guys try to hit on you, but you have to kind of put your foot down, and you have to act like a man. And then it's very difficult, because then at times then they think that you're being bossy.
The B word?
Yeah, oh yeah, I've been called that before. The B word. But because you have to basically stand on your own, or they don't respect you.
So when you say you have to act like a man, what does that mean? What does that look like when you say you have to act like a man?
Well, when I'm talking about acting like a man, is that when you're working with different men. I've worked with different men in the industry, and there's times where they may have a different persona because of the way that I look. So then I have to stand up and be like, this isn't happening over here. So that's the difference with when you are a CEO. I think that sometimes you have to act a little bit more bossy, or a little bit more assertive, a little bit more aggressive to get to the top.
Well, let's be clear about what she's saying too. Think about what she said. She says, I work in a male-dominated industry, and because of how I look, when the men that I work with don't give me that initial respect, they come for me in a different way. Now, if they were working with a man that they just met, they wouldn't try to hit on that guy. They wouldn't try to, demean her intelligence, his intelligence even. So that's great that you say that I got to deal with something different when I'm dealing with these guys.
And do you actually have to lose your femininity to work in this male-dominant area? So we want to know, Tracy, have you had maybe issues or conflicts because you were a woman leading maybe the majority of men? Were there any issues? Did you have to lead in a different way, or did you feel that you had to? The push and pull, the tug of war a bit.
Especially when there is the presence of where there was a lot of men, that she didn't feel at any given time that her position was respected, or she as a woman manager or a leader was not respected, simply because the world that we live in is still a man's world per se, as James Brown said.
But it would be nothing without.
But it wouldn't be anything without a woman or a girl. But I've had situations where I've had staff members that you can look at them and you can tell they came straight out of high school. And when it came to wanting a manager, and I'm saying I am the manager, I'm being told, no, I want to talk to him. Okay, well, this part of him doesn't look like he knows what he's doing over me, and I've already expressed that I'm the manager, so what within your concern makes you feel I can't handle it and he can? So we do deal with that as women, and unfortunately, no matter how forceful or passive, no matter how intelligent or we're going to still probably find ourselves in the position of having to always prove that I have the ability, I have the skill set, and I have the means, the know-how, the experience to be able to lead in this particular position that I'm in, that I had to fight for and possibly have done a little bit more than the next man who can get it just based upon their gender. And that's not to degrade the men and their ability to be in that position. It just means to say that it is without a doubt that women have to work harder to have the respect in positions than men do.
Working with men in different roles, what you have to do is continue to know who you are and why you're there. You know that you're not there because you could blink your eyes faster than the guy. You know that your intellect, in most cases, if you got that position, it runs circles around the guy that you're talking to. But the important part is to walk that thin line and not put them down, which I'm always tempted to do, and that's terrible. But when they are just being so disrespectful, you know that in 2 words you could cut him down, but you just have to resist that and walk back and get on your intellect and understand that you're there for a reason and he's there to get a paycheck, and that's okay because each of you get what you want.
I'm the only black person out of a staff of 50, and the majority of them are men. In the workforce, it's a relationship. It's just like being in a relationship with a man. You have to know yourself. You have to be confident that the education you got is secure. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you bring to the table, and you have to know what you plan to take away. You have to have foresight. I'm trying to teach my young children, who are also the only black child in their class, you don't come here less than. You're not below anybody. You're not less than anyone else. You're no worse than anyone else. You come to the table. You get your A, you get your projects done, you do everything, and you be the shining star in your classroom. It's the same thing in the workforce. So I don't think it's necessarily having to be in a man's world or act like a man. You just show up. Yeah. You show up with leadership. That's what you went to school for. That's what you got hired for. That's what they saw when they interviewed you. So in my role at my job, I honestly can say, I don't think they necessarily see me as just a black woman, a single black mother with 3 kids. They see me as the leader. And I'm handling business.
I find that as women, as long as we assert our leadership roles, we demand boundaries. It's not about acting as a man. You're a woman. It's very difficult to act as a man when you're a woman. You have to set boundaries. Coming from the legal world, dealing with a lot of unemployment appeals, sexual harassment issues, that's a fine line for someone like myself. So I've really never had a problem. I've had a lot of men work for me, but I'm an empowering leader. I empower the men just as I empower the women. My goal is to make leaders, so I don't really have too many issues because before an issue becomes a problem, we've already dealt with the conflict. I've written all my policies, my procedures, so when I sit down with my staff, it's not just that we have an open door policy. It's the old adage, no one wants to work for the black woman. I try to work away from that, and I really want my employees and my staff to be empowered to be their own business leaders in their areas. So I rarely, if ever, have had a problem. If anything, I've had excellent people that have worked for me, that even after they didn't work for me, I was so amazed at some of the things they were able to do from what I taught them. But I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't. I wasn't trying to act like a man. I wasn't trying to be too hard. I made rules, I stuck to them, just like I expect everyone else to stick to them. I was very open and honest. I've always been a good leader, so I've not had those problems. I think women often are trying to be something that they are not, instead of working within the skill set and the knowledge of what they have. if we don't try to be strong leaders and just lead. Leadership is a process, and so part of being a good leader means you can lead men who maybe see you in a different light than what you like to see. You have to learn to be assertive, not to be passive aggressive. You have to learn to set boundaries and continually remind others, these are the boundaries. If you have issues with the boundaries, come to me. But we're not going to, encroach. We can't have interpersonal relationships with our staff. I've actually had more problems with the women than the men. Where women, we start off with the interpersonal relationships. They think we're friends. So then I'm like, well, girlfriend, we ain't that kind of friend at work. I have less of those issues with the men at work. So I think as long as we recognize that our process of being a leader is practicing that strength, and instead of trying to break one down to build another up, we empower each other and our staff. I find that I have very few problems with men than women.
I've talked to several women recently who feel that they've worked for women in the corporate America, and those were some of the worst bosses they've ever had, were the women that they worked for. So I don't know.
That's unfortunate. Unfortunate.
And I'm like, anybody have any experience with that?
I actually have had experience with it, but I'm not going to let that one person, let that overall individual, that was that individual. Because I would like to have a female boss that empowers me, that I can look up to and lead me and take me to another level. Because I'm never too old for mentorship, that I feel. So
I love that. And we need to be real though. We need to be honest, because that's what these conversations are about. When you don't truly know who you are and you start leading in the workplace and you're leading other women, there is an opportunity to become jealous of people who work for you, because you don't want them to exceed. You don't want them to do better than you, because then that means they're going to take your place.
Well, if they but they don't realize that taking your place may be that they're going to a higher level so that they can take your place to lead. We don't think like that, because when you have to give the tools and resources to your employees because we all look good. You don't not give them enough. You have to give them everything too.
Absolutely. So we want to make sure that we help empower women to become better leaders in the workplace, so that they don't work from a scarcity mentality. We work from the mentality that there's enough, right, for all of us. There's more than enough, actually.
Absolutely.
So we have to be able to work from that perspective.
Well, ain't nothing shy about me.
Oh, I know. All right now.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to put it this way, reiterate that again. These are my sociable cocktail thoughts. That there's a true statement that says, be yourself and never find yourself by yourself. And love starts when manipulation stops. That's it.
To the next question. So, just so you guys know where a lot of our questions came from, in the last conversation party, we asked people, what do you want us to talk about the next time we get together? So a lot of these questions actually derive from that. So the next question, the person really said, can married people work together? And so I'm going to rephrase it, because I know married people can work together, but we want to know, can they work effectively together? And what makes a power couple? Anybody know? Anybody?
Before we started our own business, we worked together. So we got up in the morning together, we drove into work together, we came home to work together, we were together. And at first I didn't like that. You know, before we actually got together, I was just like, I don't date who I work with. That was just my own personal.
But you were married when this happened.
No. We met at work.
Oh!
We met at work. And then, you know, we became a married couple.
Okay.
So it changed. I was just really didn't want that. And then we started working together. And then we built a business together, as I stated, House of Miracles and things like that. So it can be tough to do that, but you have to know the common goal. And the common goal is success in helping people as we do. We're big, me and my husband and I, we're big debaters. So we'll debate about something, but we'll come back the next day and say, you know what, that was a good point. So it can be challenging, and I feel that now we are a power couple. I didn't think that. People have told us that. I guess that from looking on the outside, but I didn't ever think about that, because the mission wasn't to be a power couple. The mission was to succeed in the business that we were doing.
I started I've been married twice. With my first wife, we started, she was on welfare when I first met her, and she went to work for a company, and the company did something or disrespected her. So we ended up taking over the company, and she had no problem with doing that. But she trusted me to ensure that we were going to, my actions were really worthy of trust. So
how did the business aspect part of it, how did that work out?
Well, she called my, I'll tell you the story, a short story. She worked for Molly Maid.
Okay.
Okay. The lady had just bought the business.
Okay.
And one day she gave me a check and it bounced. So Monday she had a meeting with the employees to tell them about why the check bounced or whatever. So she called her a nigger. A white one. So she wanted to jump over the table and beat the hell out of her. But she didn't. So I told her, just call the labor board. So she gave her like a $30 or $40 bad check, and it ended up turning into $10,000 in less than 30 days. So we took that $10,000, invested in vehicles and hired all the employees that she had, took all of her clients, and we started our own maid service. So it was extremely successful. So, but it's trust, respect, and communication.
I'm newly married, and we've discussed this from the start. Marriage is a business, just like anything else. And you need to have constant communication. You need to know your rules and everything that helps to make a business run well. So in order for you to make that business run well, both the CEOs must work together. And me and my wife, we constantly try to practice that. So it's a constant communication, just like anything else in your marriage. It's constant communication. So in order for them to make it work, yes, you can make it work. But just like a business, it's a lot of communications to keep it running. And as far as a power couple goes, I think a power couple means that you're able to do the things that you like to do. And if people see you doing the things that you like to do, then you are considered a power couple. You don't have to be rich in order to be a power couple. Okay, you have to do the things that you like to do. Me and my wife love to travel, and everybody attests to that. We're going to be going traveling in a few more weeks. We traveled 3-4 times this year. So a lot of people see it and say, wow, you know, we've made it work within our means, within, you know, we have goals, we have things that we want to do. So we're able to make it work. So if we're a power couple, so be it. All right? That's all I got to say.
It's just about having trust and respect for each other. I think that's definitely key when it comes to having an effective relationship, and then also sharing common goals. Like, he likes to travel, and you know, they do things together. So it's really just important to be able to share things and just have a respect and a similar foundation. Like, that's just what I've noticed. Even in my relationship, we put God in the center of our relationship. So doing that, it strengthens us and just brings us closer together. And I feel like when you're in a marriage, like what I hope to have in marriage is to just be able to communicate openly and not disrespect the other person, and listen attentively, and you know, not go in with your own agenda. Because I think a lot of times when you're communicating, it's like you just want to be right, or you just want to get your point across without fully understanding where they're coming from, and that can be like really difficult to when you're just talking, when you're trying to solve problems. So yeah, I think men are definitely right. It's about trust and respect, and just really caring for each other and having respect.
Good point.
Thank you.
The thing that he's founded his relationship on is God. He has a spiritual principle, and they recently went through a great loss of a newborn baby that lived for a month,
And this is a time that could tear a marriage apart, because they had to deal with, do we put him on life support and try to let him live longer, or do we let God do God? And they were torn. But one thing that I saw in them, and I find as a mother inspiration in them, is that they pulled together. They never stopped communicating. They never stopped praying. They never stopped loving each other. At a time that could have torn the relationship apart, they are so much stronger.
Good point.
We do talk without listening. We're just waiting to respond. You know what I'm saying? So
I want to compliment what I heard in the back of the room by the young lady and her mother-in-law to be, possibly. Mother? Okay, mother. It is a lot to do with communication. It's a lot to do with respect. And what I am so very thankful for and so very blessed that we have God in the center of our relationship. And what we do is we run our relationship like a business. When you were up there talking about your business, when we had the question dealing with the women in the workplace being the leaders over men and being respected, it was reminding me of the concepts that we have and the foundation that we have in our relationship. One being God, and two, that a business has receivables where you have money coming in, your revenue and everything. They have payables where you have money going out, your bills, your utilities, and all of that. And then you have policies and procedures. If this happens, how do we handle this? If you're tempted, how do we handle that? If we're dealing with a situation where we don't agree, how do we handle that? So we put policies and procedures in place. When something happens, we then talk about, if this happens again, how do we handle it so that we don't get in this position again? So when it comes to the way that we handle the communication, which is extremely important, we find ourselves telling ourselves that we must be Martians and be extremely honest to begin with, and allow that person to deal with their natural feelings of what they heard, whether it was hurt, frustration, being upset, deal with those feelings, and then deal with whatever the topic was. And then in that, we have decided that in our communication that we won't get angry and bring those things back up. But what I do love about it, and I lost a point and I didn't want to lose it, is that we do handle it like a business, and that we choose to be very honest in our communication. It was one point that I missed, but I want to go ahead and push on so that you can move forward. But if
you think of it, we can.
Yeah, it's just that open communication and having God in the center of it. And I know what it was. So we look to understand the other person. And you're right, when you have an argument or a communication, it's so very important you know my position. I need you to know how you made me feel. I need you to know how I'm hurt. I need you to know. So we say that it's not for me to try and get you to know what I feel or press that upon you. It's for me to understand you and you to understand me. It's for me to make you happy and you to make me happy. It's for me to meet your needs and you to meet my needs. And at the end of the day, you have two happy people, two needs that are met, two people that are understood, and that has helped in our relationship.
Awesome. We're going to get married, but I'd like to think that we are a power couple in and of itself, because we've learned how to deal with, both of us have been married and divorced, we have kids, we live on opposite ends of the valley, so we have a lot of challenges already in and of itself in our relationship. But when you learn how to work together and trust and communicate and accept the other person for who they are and what they have to offer to the relationship, and they do the same in reverse, then that makes you a power couple right there. If you can manage that and stick through it, there are going to be some really, really rough times, and there's going to be some awesome times. Share it together. Love together, do it together, communicate together, trust together, just do it together. That makes you a power couple right there.
There's black men that run from commitment like a plague.
They run from commitment like
it's a plague.
Oh, like it's a plague.
Why is that?
Huh?
You can't just put it out there and then not come back with a reference.
Right, you can't just say black men run from commitment like it's the plague. Like
so you run from commitment.
No, I have from. There you go.
Okay.
I speak from personal experience.
Okay, there we go.
Make no mistake about it. Every and anything that I hear, I speak from personal experience. Like your boy Jimmy Vlad. This is the artistic art show. But
they run from it like a player.
Stop. This is alcoholic beverages talking to me right now. But most people run from commitment like it is a plague. And as very well as that young lady, that manager, enunciated, and you've been with her for that long, that's why I was saying that folks run from it like it's a plague. And I'm gonna go back to when I first started this right here. A lot of women are more educated, make more money. The problem is with a black man, and if you give a person 5 minutes, they'll tell all the person experience, anybody, is that once you empower a woman, physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially, and remove that man from the home, and a woman puts her ass on her shoulders to the point where she don't really need a man anymore, a hurt man becomes a perfect two-legged, upright, walking D-O-double-G.
We're gonna turn the corner a little bit on this next question.
Are you guys ready?
So we're gonna turn, sharp turn, you know, like one of those sharp turns. So, would you be willing to tell your quote-unquote good friend that you saw their significant other cheating or in a compromising situation? And would you want to know? Now that's kind of like a two-part question. Would you tell your good friend that you saw their significant other cheating or in a compromising situation, but also would you want to know that?
I do not want to know if someone come and tell me that they see my significant other out for a reason. You can't just believe everything you hear. And if you have trust in your relationship, you shouldn't want to know anyway. Second question, I did see my best friend's husband in the mall one day with another girl. I chose not to tell her because it wasn't my place. And then I did put him to a side though and tell him he was wrong for being out in the mall with somebody else. So I just stay out of people's business because you never know in the end they're still going to be together.
I would want to know. That's just me. That's just me. And if you're my quote-unquote good friend, you should be coming to me with talk. I'm just gonna say for real. Tell me, I'll handle it. I'll handle it if it's nothing.
Real
That's
talk.
just me.
I have a lot of associates.
You got the quiet back.
I have very few good friends. And I would expect my good friend to come and tell me if they see my significant other with someone else. And in that same respect, if I'm an associate of someone, then no, I wouldn't tell them. But if I'm a good friend, I will go to that good friend, male or female. I will go to them and I will go to the partner and let them know. That's, to me, that's what's being a good friend.
Go ahead.
A good friend, you talk to on a regular basis. They pretty much will know your relationship to begin with anyway. So for me, if that person is my good friend and they saw my boyfriend, fiance, husband, whoever he is, with someone else and didn't come tell me and I found out later that she knew, I'm going to be upset with her. Because you should have come to me and told me. Because you're my good friend. I would expect that out of you. Because I would come and tell you to spare your feelings so that you're not walking around oblivious in the dark that your man is out there doing God knows what and didn't tell you. And if you end up with something, catching something, and I didn't tell you, that's on me too. I feel like I'm responsible. So I would definitely tell the good friend. Now, if it's somebody I don't know, that's not my business. And why would that person believe me anyway? Because they don't know me.
You know what? I'm gonna say it really just depends on what the situation was, who it came from, if it was a reliable source of
Well, we're going with good friends. That's why I quote. We're going to only go with good friends.
Okay, good friends. No.
Wow.
No.
What happens in the dark comes out to light. So no one needs to intervene in anybody's relationship because it always comes out. You may be that light though.
Right.
I'm sorry. But no, what God has in store for anybody, this meant to be is meant to be forever. So you don't God uses us. I just disagree with that because in the long run, that husband is going to be mad at you, or the wife is going to be mad at you, especially if you're still friends with either one. That's just my own personal answer.
So yes, I'd like to know. Second, I'd like to say communication is key. You know your relationship, you know your significant other. Communication opens the door to everlasting. And then thirdly, I'd like to say assumptions. Assuming. You don't know. You can tell your friend, but your friend is assuming. Unless it's really blatant, I saw him in the bed. But assumptions can get you hurt. So communication is first, and then you know your relationship, you know your significant.
I think you do, and I think it may have been you, one of you guys over here, that mentioned that maybe she already knows, or maybe she's embarrassed. And I do believe that in cases that when you may tell a friend that their significant other was cheating, they may have that may not be the first time that they heard that. But, and you said sometime, well, they may get mad at you. You know what, for me, I'll take that risk. I'll take that risk because I just need to, for me, you can be, I'll be real personal, just really quick, and I'll move on. I was in a situation where I had to tell somebody that, friends from way back, and we stopped communicating for a while. But it didn't matter because I did what I felt I had to do as a friend, and you handled that. I didn't want to let it linger with me.
It really is about personal preference, whether you want to know or not.
What about you, Pat?
My preference is I would like to know, but I will guarantee you as a friend, I probably would not tell you unless I knew you wanted to know. And guess what? Because you all know I'm talker, I'm gonna know, I'm gonna ask you, hey, hypothetically, if your man were cheating, would you wanna know? So if you told me at that very point in my hypothetical situation with you that you would not wanna know, Pat would not have shared that information with you.
He's gonna be my friend. No matter what, he's going to be real honest. I know how to pick my friends. Second of all, it's how you communicate it to them.
Good point. Good point.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because when you communicate, you know, when you communicate with someone, you have to communicate it to them right. Like you gave a hypothetical situation. Yes, you do it like that. Not the girl, your man is a dog.
You didn't hear us over here talking. We said maybe over a bottle of wine, like, pick up, girl. So we can flow, you know, smooth with it.
Right. It's how you communicate. Because when you do it that way, you know, most of the time, you know, the other person's relaxed. They won't get defensive. Because normally when you communicate it wrong, the person's going to get defensive, and they're going to want to, oh no, that's going to cause an argument between you two. And it's going to ruin, you know, it's going to cause damage to your relationship.
I actually am privy to that information. I'm going to go to you as the male and say, hey, you've now been caught in the act. And it's my responsibility to tell my sister, but guess what? I'm going to give you a time frame to communicate that to her.
0.1
and and guess what? If you have not done that in the time I've had an opportunity to go back and tell her about this, then that's on you. So you can't say that you didn't have a chance to communicate what happened, whatever it was. But now that you have, I think, violated me, because that's my sister, then you have to suffer the consequences.
No, I would not tell my boy. And I think if women here, just be honest, they wouldn't tell their sister either. They wouldn't tell their best friend either. They may warn your best friend. I may warn my best friend, hey, you know what, boy? Hey, you know you got a girl,
that's real
blah, 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 whatever. But after that, I may say something to him. Yeah, exactly. Depends on how close she is with his girl. No, I'm just playing. But, no, that's real. That's real talk. No, that's real talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I knew he was not serious and he had something else and he wanted to do something with someone else, hey, okay, have at it. But if he's married, I'm like, hey, bruh, watch it here. So I think if you ask that question in reverse to some of the ladies and guys who gave their answer, you might have a little bit of a different answer. So
That defines good friend all over again. If your best friend, girlfriend was about to go and have an affair or cheat on her spouse, how far would you take that conversation? I mean, would you tell her that's morally wrong, your values, where are they, yada, yada, yada? That takes good friendship to a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
If you and that guy is going to make it or not, it has nothing to do with me. Right? So I would not want to know if it was me. I've never interfered in my girlfriends. I've seen it all. I've had girlfriends for years, and I just would not. It's not my place. Some things with your best friends are personal, and their relationships are. Nothing you can say or help them, even though we want to help our girl fight, we want to catch our man, that's personal. Her relationship is personal. My job as a best friend is to be there for you. It's not to help watch your man, or nothing I could say to her should change her relationship with her man either way. So I would say no, and I wouldn't want to know because I could just say, Carolyn, I just don't want, me and my sisters, we want to talk and enjoy each other. I don't want to, no, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him.
Would like to know, but I did not tell on the kissers because usually if someone is stepping out of a relationship, if you're married, you're connected on so many levels that you will already know.
That's what he said, that if that is happening where someone is stepping outside of the relationship, the woman already knows. Now, is that true, or do you guys think that's true or not?
Yeah, it's true.
I need to know, you know, because then communication opens up. Because what you saw may not be what you thought it was or whatever, but at least give me the opportunity to save myself, okay, and to talk about it, as she said, you know. And I've been in a relationship, and he was cheating, and I walked into another room, and I caught him cheating. I said another room in the club. I walked into the other side of the club, and he was on a date.
But did you know prior? Cause he
hell no. I don't know where that shit comes from.
Okay, because he said that women know. No. N-O, capital N-O. So he was putting in time and work with you and making you feel like you were the only one?
When I saw him the first part of the night, he was like, well, what time are you heading towards the house?
Oh, he saw you prior.
Yes.
I think
Jay was already there.
Okay,
Don't tell me about somebody that knows. No, I didn't know. And I'm sure a lot of women don't know. And you have to keep in mind that what they're saying, that women know all these relationships. Women always feel that things have changed. He hasn't had a real woman. And once he has me, he's not going to want anyone else. And so, no, I don't think that all women know automatically they have a cheater. You know, I don't believe that personally. But when I went in the other room and, you know, and I saw him, and I was just shocked because he had just told me to hurry up home, he's going that way, meet me at the house. I mean, I'm shocked at the whole thing when I see him and he's actually on a date. So no, I didn't know. And I think anybody that knows me, and I do agree with, if you're a good friend, you know that person would want to know. But in case you don't, you just see me, I want to know.
Speaking for me, my intuition kicks in. And this is my daughter, and she can vouch for me. On 3 occasions, she's been with me every time when this man has gotten caught, different men, and it was just an intuition that I had. And even the last one, she says, Mom, I had a dream that this man cheated on you. And not even a week later, he leaves his cell phone and he cheated. I talked to the girl. And I'm like, really? So it is intuition. If you're really in tune, intuition kicks in.
I got it. Right, because you just can't say, well, I found out he was cheating and I talked to the girl. We got to just give us just a quick snippet because we got to keep going of how you got there.
Real quick, he lived in Tucson. I lived here. And he left his phone and he was at the airport and he was like, can you bring my phone? I'm like, I'm on my way to work. I am not coming to the airport. That phone is fine. It'll be here when you come back. And I
started turning, you know. So I went back home and I got the phone, just laid it on my desk at the office, and the text. And then she left a voice message, so I called and I let her know who I was. And she says, well, this is who I am and this is what's been going on. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll deal with that when he comes. I didn't tell him I knew. I waited a week until I saw him, and it was face to face. So there is women intuition, and God do reveal things to people, so I can understand what the young lady is saying here, that God can do it. But God also sends a person to open your girlfriend's eyes. If it was my girlfriend, I love them dearly, I would definitely tell them, at the risk of losing them, because a lot of times the men would turn it around and say, your girl is after me. Not. But the good thing is, if you live your life in such a way, when a person tells a lie on you, no one will believe it, including your girlfriend. So if it's coming from me, she knows it's true.
Men, down through the years, different cultures, whether it's African, Hispanic, European, whatever, innately men have had more than one woman. This is down through thousands of years ago. So inside a man, he's more prone to want more than one woman. Now, today's society, man has to use his integrity, use his value system, his morals, use his commitment to his woman in order to veer from these women who will throw themselves at them because they don't want a commitment, they want money. If they're giving up the goodie, then they may get money. So they have to understand that there's a lot of women who don't want the actual relationship. They just want the financial support. And men don't want the relationship, they just want the goodie. So we have to deal with the fact that it's innate, number one. And men have to have their integrity in order to resist this innate ability within them, because it's passed down from generation to generation, thousands of years. And so we as women, we have to understand that these men have that tendency. We can't push them. We just have to be the best we can be sexual, be understanding, be open, be the best we can be, and know that there is so many obstacles in our way. There's other ethnic groups that want our men because they're black and they have the there are other people, there's so many. My point is, innately, men have that capacity to want to have more than one woman because it's been passed down through generations. And we have to be the woman that attracts them. We have to do the same thing all the time that attracted them. We have to keep doing that to keep them. Yeah. But on the other hand, they can't be afraid of us because we are assertive. We have to be assertive because you're not. We have to be assertive because you've been raised by young women who have forgotten they don't really know how to raise a man because they are so young. They're so busy trying to run after a man, they can't raise the one that they have at home. So, I think I'm going from here to there.
My wife started cheating on me. I lived in Atlanta. She lived in California. We both lived in California at the same time. And she decided she didn't want to come to Atlanta because she had a so-called career. I was the breadwinner. I took care of both households. So I would have rather known that I was being abused than not. Then I could have just severed the relationship and been through it.
If another man's messing around, if her man's messing around, I would tell her. Would you, if your best friend was a male, would you tell him? Okay. You have to communicate no matter what. It's all about communication. I agree with my brother right here in the sense that sometimes you do know and you block it out. Okay, you block it out. You do know and you don't want to know. Okay, me and my wife have a basic, we have a thing about being marshals. Meaning that we tell the absolute truth no matter what, and we step back and and we deal with it. So I'd rather have it. Because if you keep that open and honest relationship, and that truth, pure truth, I'm talking about pure truth, in your relationship, there ain't no need for a man to step out. Okay, if I'm stepping out, the men normally step out because they're not getting something they're not getting at home. But we need to tell our women what we're not getting. And you as women need to provide it. The same goes for us. Women need to tell us what they're not getting. And we need to provide it. Physically, mentally, in all forms. So there it goes back again to communication. So you communicate with your friends all the time. And I feel like this. Ain't nothing I wouldn't tell my friends that I wouldn't tell my wife. Okay, so you have to communicate. That's all I got to say.
So does size really matter when it comes to the engagement ring? And you could think that it could be a woman's question, but normally the man is buying that ring, so it would have to be, he has to know the size or think about that too. So it's two-part.
It depends on what that relationship was built on to begin with. So if it is about material things, either the woman you have or the man and what he's positioning himself to create a value of himself or what he can do for you, then yes, size will matter, because I'm expecting what it is that you have been pushing out, or I'm expecting you'll give to me what it is I have been letting you know that I want. But when it comes to true love, I don't think that size should ever matter, because it could be a token to say this is how much you love me, but that is something that could tarnish, could be lost, or anything like that. And when that is there or gone, does the love stop when it comes to the treatment, or does it define the treatment? Does it define the way the person cares about you, the way they communicate with you, the way that they love you intimately? And so size should never matter when it comes to true love, you know, when it comes to an engagement ring or a wedding ring, unless you've already built the foundation of your relationship on a material standpoint.
Ring is nothing but materialistic. If your values behind that ring should matter more than anything else in this world. So if I'm given a ring, I'm going to give you what I feel is right. But I'm going to give you even more by the token of my commitment. Because I can give you a $20,000 ring and I'm out here banging every woman out here on the street. And you were out here looking like, oh, I got a big old ring. But you got a bad man. And that's a problem. So size shouldn't matter. It's what your commitment behind that ring is. And if you come home and your man ain't at home, but you got a $20,000 ring, I guarantee you, ladies, I guarantee you that you can't make love to that ring. You may try. That ring ain't gonna satisfy you.
Somebody
Looking at that ring. You can pawn it all you want to. You can pawn it all you want to, but commitment stays forever.
That's right.
And that's all I ask.
You do. You just want the rock. I mean, it's not a reflection of my love for you and your love for me. But in today's society, we live in 2014. You want a nice ring. You want to be able to say, ooh. Because that's the first thing people say, can I see your ring? Yeah. Let me see your ring. And if it's real, oh, that's so cute. But if it's, oh, girl. So I understand and I agree with you. I'm with you on the love and the naturalness of it all. I really am. But I want a rock. I want the ring. So do you understand what I'm saying? Material things are beautiful and nice. We like to look nice, all of us. When I came up the stairs earlier today, I said, oh, everyone looks so nice. Because we do. We look like we're beautiful black people. We look nice. You like nice. I bet your homes are nice. I bet your bathrooms and your bedrooms are nice. You want a nice ring, not because you're materialistic and you want to show off, but because you like nice things.
you're not marrying the ring, you're marrying the man. So whether it's a ring that he got from bubblegum machine, but he's definitely in love with you, or whether he got it from Tiffany's. The ring is just a token to say, I love you. It doesn't mean that the man had to go spend his last paycheck on it. And as you get older, those things become less and less important. I can buy my own ring. What good is a ring? Good, beautiful. I like rubies. I don't care as much for diamonds as I do rubies. But what good is my ruby ring to a man that I can't stand to sleep with? All right. And we have nothing in common.
Right.
You could have bought that ring and not gone through the hassle. So watch out for what you're looking for. Right. You're looking for the man, not the ring.
Yes, when it came to the ring shopping, I did want to find something that said "pow," you know, at least that at least said, yeah, he loved me. But I know that that's not what it's about. Simply because one of our attempts to actually do the ceremony was going to be in Jamaica, and in Jamaica we didn't have our wedding rings, and I literally wanted to get some little crack shell stuff in the gift shop and do it. But this sentimental man says, no, I want you to have what I want you to have, going back to, you know, a bit of what you were saying. And at the end of the day, I'm still going to say the size should not matter. It just depends on the basis of that relationship. But because I love this man so much as I like nice things, because trust me, you can put a bed in my closet and I still feel like I don't have enough room because I need something bigger so I can put more in it. But I love nice things. But at the end of the day, those nice things won't replace what I have with him. Really quick, I was watching a show where the woman and the man had an argument. He lied to her, and then she was done with him. Now she thought he was dying. Now the lie didn't matter, because all that mattered is that I had this man back. Now he begins to live. Whatever it is, he's cured from it. Now that he's cured from it, she's upset again over the lie that she was done with when she thought she was going to lose him. We lose sight of what's really important is what it is. So at the end of the day, it's not really important that what I have on my finger, because that what's on my finger is not going to take the place of the warm man. It's not going to take the place of what he provides me as far as a good relationship, communication, comfort, and trust, and all of that. And if I had to have my, rathers, I would rather have him with a janky ring than to have a great ring with a janky man.
I want to continue to do this. So every 2 months, Audrey and I are committed, right, to bringing you a conversation party. So, I mean, before we even get to the last question, I just want to say I've had fun. It's been exciting for me.
Tentatively, that we will be at a conversation party for Juneteenth at East Lake Park. So, so just mental note that.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Glad everyone enjoys themselves with the conversation party. Look forward to the next one. And House of Miracles is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to helping men and women in recovery from drugs and alcohol. We have 2 facilities, one for men and one for women. They're both in Glendale, Arizona. We have a lot of success stories, so if you go on our website, you'll actually see that. Some individuals that have been with us for a while that's gone on to do great things, open their own businesses, go back to school, and all alcohol and drug free, and they've gone on to live a very productive life. We're very proud of that. So if you'd like to come and tour the facility, you have questions, or you would like to help out in some kind of way with your time, your effort, your expertise, or whatever it is that you do as far as your profession, we would love to have you to be a part of it. God bless all of you, and hope you guys have a good time. Have a good evening.